Great to see you. Hello, Vitória. How are you?
Hello, fine, and you?
We're great. Coming in loud and clear to you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Excellent. Well, it's good to see you. Last time I saw you was last week, and you were on vacation
Yes.
at the beach and looked like you were having a wonderful time, and I was clearly interrupting your very pleasurable holiday.
No, that's no problem. But it was very nice. I was at the beach.
Good, good. Well, welcome back. You're based in
Thank
Sao
you.
Paulo. Is that where you are right now?
No, I'm still in the north of Brazil, northwest of Brazil. Yeah.
I got you. So it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon there, if I'm
Mhm.
correct, lunchtime?
Yes, lunchtime, exactly.
Great. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed meeting you in that first occasion. Been looking forward to this session. I will say I am a huge AB loyalist, probably a 45-year Budweiser drinker. I know I'm aging
That's
myself,
perfect.
but I'm being totally transparent with you. But we're not here to talk beer today. We're here to talk non-alcoholic beverages, right?
Great. Yes.
Right. But if this goes well, I may crack open the can.
You can.
12
It's
o'clock,
already
if that's okay.
lunchtime here. Yeah.
Right. So in our prep session, one of the lines that really stood out with me is you said, my job is really to try crazy things for brands. So we're going to talk about crazy things in the world of marketing, in the world of beverages, non-alcoholic beverages, creativity, and anything else that's on your mind or on the mind of our viewers here today as well. So you really have a very interesting job heading up non-alcoholic beverages within a company that's had a rich history and heritage within the spirits and the beer industry. So tell us a little bit about your responsibilities there in non-alcoholic beverages and what your global responsibilities entail from a country and region standpoint. And then we'll kick things off with a little bit of a 30,000-foot view of the marketing landscape today.
Okay, perfect. So my role today, I'm head of connections for non-alc, as you mentioned. So my role is to help brands towards digital transformation. So everything around data, media, creativity. My role is to connect with brands and help them building better campaigns for consumers and be more connected with our new audiences nowadays. And in non-alc, as we are in non-alc, I have the challenge to test everything first. So as non-alc, we don't have age gate, we don't have religions gate, so we can try things first and then scale to beer. So all the new formats that comes across media or social channels, etc., that's already allowed to non-alc, it's still not allowed to beer, so we test first here. So my mindset, that's why I said that I like to do crazy things, because we like to use non-alc brands to test first, to try everything new. So that's my role in the end, is connecting, understanding the opportunities and connecting the right brand with the right partner or with different audiences and creativity.
Well, it's really interesting that you say transformation on the one side and testing on the other, which is somewhat of a metaphor where the world of marketing is today. So using this as sort of a launching pad, how do you see consumer behavior changing since you've been in this role? Your background also includes agency experience, which I'm sure you are highly involved in market research and creativity. So how do you see the consumer changing and the marketing landscape evolving with that changing consumer behavior?
Yeah, so I think for our industry, the consumer changed a lot during the pandemic, a lot, the behavior changed at all. So we saw it, a huge increase of in-home consumption, and also a huge increase for us on D2C and all the lower funnel. So we developed in ABI new different ways to approach consumer, to get in touch with consumers. So we changed a lot for us internally. Also, one thing that we're working with the brands, the consumers, also because of the pandemic, are looking for brands with a real purpose. So brands that help society, brands that have something meaningful, and that must be true. So we're also working the brands to find this truth word from them. Yep. And also what I saw as a huge change is the increase of home entertainment too. So on streamings, gamings, and etc. So we have a mindset of don't interrupt and always try to connect, to create culture, to create entertainment for consumers, or to offer a service. So that's our role. It's connecting to people and find their like true love, and don't interrupt them, and try to find a way to entertain or to offer something that help them in a way.
Well, it does seem like you are an organization that listens very closely to the consumer and how the consumer changes. And when you view yourself as a leading marketer, there's so many different dynamics going on in the marketing landscape, from the transition from cookies to identity, the issue of privacy, the advent and tremendous growth of streaming. And how do you, deal with those challenges and make sense and integrate those, very different facets that are important in marketing today?
Yeah, I think one thing that we saw a huge increase of GDPR, the GDPD, and etc. So we have a very concerned on when I get the data from consumer to make them know we're using the data in there through their benefits, to understand their needs, to try to innovate, to understand what type of content they want to see. So what we are in a challenge of throughout data, connect better with consumers, and in the end, create a better engagement for our brands. And then we have we have some initiatives internally that we develop, as I mentioned to you also in our chat last week. Owned Insights, it's one of them, that we develop an internal platform to make research with consumers using our first-party data. And we can do different types of researches, from example, testing packagings, testing campaigns, products, etc. So it's one way for us to be more closer to consumers in that.
And let's hold on to that data and first-party data point for a moment, because we're going to revisit that. At Cadent, we're very involved in the data landscape in the context of media. But as you see marketing changing, rapidly, the beverage industry has changed rapidly as well. And I think you can use a few examples of these. In the craft beer IPA category, you go to a liquor store and it looks like pop art behind the displays because of all the micro products that have been introduced.
Exactly.
You have products now in the energy category that have proliferated. So tell me where you see the beverage industry changing and going as well within that perspective.
Yeah, I think also because of pandemic, I think people are more worried about their health, their life, so they're looking more for healthy beverages. So all the functional beverages, for example, we saw a huge trend during the pandemic that people that cannot sleep well, they have anxiety and other issues. So all the functional beverages, I think it's in a huge increase, and also the energy, and not just the energy for, I don't know, gaming, for example, but for everything in our life. You need energy. So it's the health and wellness, overall, the accessible health and wellness, it's a huge trend for us.
Which is very interesting when you think about it, for a beer company, right? It is, obviously a huge trend, and you're smart to take advantage of that. And omnichannel marketing, using every tool available to you, from online to retail and every other touch point in the consumer journey, has to be increasingly more important to you today to be relevant, I'm assuming.
Yes, totally. So as I work mainly with the digital, and so for us, we are in a role now of developing with the brands a knowledge that we call the non-linear journey. So it's beyond full funnel. It's how can we create shortcuts in the journey accordingly to each type of audience. So for example, I have, a huge CSD brand in Brazil, and every time it communicates with the consumers, doesn't need to go through the whole funnel, because there's a lot of consumers that already are already consumers from the brand. So what we do, we create shortcuts based on the audience and information that we know from that consumer. So instead of going through the whole funnel, we create shortcuts and offer them, for example, I don't know, a mother that is going to do like a birthday party for her daughter. Instead of presenting what is the product, etc., we go direct to the lower funnel stage to create a shortcut and create a non-linear journey that makes more sense. So in the non-linear journey, there's all type of channels from offline to online, lower and etc., including like offline channels with geolocation information. So the omnichannel for us is like a total, like it's a reality. We cannot, there is no way for, don't think as omnichannel now. And of course, depending on the brand, we connect very young audiences. So for us, it's even more important to be where they are.
Excellent. So now we got a little background on your kind of general perspective on marketing. Let's talk specifically about your responsibilities, your portfolio. So tell us, I realize you're in charge of connections on a global level. How do you define global within your organization, and what regions does that encompass in your responsibilities? Because it's pretty diverse, as you outlined.
Yes, it's very diverse. Our main markets today are Latin American overall. So Brazil is a huge market, Colombia, Argentina, Honduras, El Salvador, and then we have Dominican Republic, US, Europe, India, South Africa, and China. So for me, I talk as I'm work cross brands and cross markets. My role is to really try to find the trends that connect with different types of brands, and then for me is I have some key challenges on the year that I choose brands to become pilots. So I can help them with knowledge, and I can help them with some also some budget that I have on my side to in the end my role is really teach them towards a new way of connecting with consumers, engaging with consumers. So what I do, it's depending on the brand, depending on the targets. And as I'm very in touch with partners like TikTok, Google, YouTube, Facebook, and etc., I understand what are the new formats, the new channels, the new possibilities for us to test, and then we understand which brand makes more sense. And then I connect with the markets, and then I use this example to and then to teach other markets also as a benchmark.
And do you try to employ a kind of mantra of think global, act locally, or and at the same time you're trying to find the threads of commonality?
Yes, for sure.
So yes, it's a hard balancing act, because you mentioned these regions and countries that are so distinctively different, from Brazil to China. So how are you trying to bring the world a little closer together?
Yeah, I think it's hard, because what I try to do is really understand the market, really understand the brand locally, and then help on the global view. But for sure, I need the local support and the local knowledge to make it happen in the right way, and to really make the connection with the consumer in the right way. I won't do anything by myself. I totally need the brand managers to help to work with me.
And within that, do you create priorities? China because of its size, US because of its size. Do those come to the top of your list
Yes.
in terms of priorities and in how you approach things globally?
Yes, for sure. Our priorities are the huge markets on net revenue, and also mid investment. For me, it's also important. But I have priorities markets that I work that I give more of my time in the end.
And you know, when we're thinking non-alcoholic, right? To me, it can take many forms. It can be energy. It could be soda. It could be seltzer. It could be cannabis infused. There's a lot of variations to this, and I'm just touching on a few. Give us a sense of a few of those star products in your portfolio. You mentioned Brazil, you have a lot of traction. Which are the products that are really resonating? And give us a little bit of their profile and what categories that they compete in.
Yes, I think there is a very nice product to launch last year that is for me. It's a beverage in Brazil. It's a shot functional beverage. So they have 3 flavors, and it's one for each type of benefit in the end. So one for insomnia, one for anxiety, and one for relax. And we did an agreement with a very famous artist in Brazil, like a huge artist, and she is partner from the product. So she also wins some royalties as every time she helps us selling the product. So it's a very different
model, right?
Model and beverage for us, because it's the first time we did a shot.
And is it 3-in-1 drink, or 3 distinct shots, or can I take it for
3
insomnia,
different,
anxiety?
yeah.
It's distinct.
It's distinct. You can buy it a pack containing the three of them, and also, or just a pack with one type of product. And also you can sign to receive like every week in your house, like, because it's a daily use product. So it's nice for you to drink one every day. So you can receive in your house 7 shots, for example, one for each day of week, depending on what you need. So it's a very interesting type of beverage and model for us.
Because I could really use those. I'm afflicted by all 3 of those things. So I think it'd be a good product if you could bring that to the US for me personally, at the very least.
Yes, I can send you some to try, to test.
Exactly. That'd be great. Now, within those, that's a very creative, different approach to beverages, right? How long was that in testing, or, in terms of before you could bring it to the market? Because you're sort of this innovation lab, and we'll get into that in a second, are you able to bring products to the market faster than traditionally is known within an AB and InBev?
I'm not responsible then for the innovation beverage area, but I can say that this product exactly it was come to life very quickly, because we saw this trend in the pandemic and we tried to innovate very quickly. But I don't know exactly how much time it took, but I think it was around 6 months.
Yep.
From the idea to testing the product, to buying for the consumer, to be able for consumers to buy the product. We have a huge developing lab of beverage, but I'm not the perfect person to talk about product innovation.
But it does seem like it's a relatively quick cycle,
Yes.
as you mentioned, just 6 months before you started testing, which would seem to be fairly quick. And some of your other partnerships in these categories, I'd love to learn more about. You mentioned, and this is all non-alcoholic, what you're doing with Red Bull, which obviously very distinct brand on its own, very strong brand. Tell us how you're partnering with them and how that relationship works.
Yes, so depending on the market, we have different partners. We have PepsiCo is a huge partner, Coke also a huge partner in different markets, and Red Bull also in some markets. So for example, PepsiCo is one partner that we have. We work closer to them on the non-alc. So we are building JBPs together on the sites. We are also building full funnel strategies campaigns together, because we can create promotions with both products together. We are trying to use and understand the consumers and the audience from one side to other sides, to understand connections and understand behaviors. So how can we work better together? How can we understand consumers together in the end? So PepsiCo is a great example. We have 2 times per year we do some summit with them to really understand the connections moments and the connections opportunities, and then we create these JBPs and work with them throughout the year. So PepsiCo is PepsiCo, Red Bull, and Coke are our main partners.
Excellent. And it seems like you do serve as very much a consultant with the organization, and you're doing some really innovative, good work. But how do you and your brands really try to break through in the organization and share those learnings and new innovations and new designs and new thinking that you're bringing to the company, but really to get traction when you're sort of serving it, in a very high level.
Yeah, so one example, we did a very good job with one of our brands in Brazil, that is Guaraná. It's a huge CSD brand. And this brand really loves challenge, and it's a brand that connects with their own young audience. So we thought maybe let's build Guaraná as the best in class in digital in ABI. So we started developing a huge, it was in 2019, a very nice YouTube channel that is Coisa Nossa, the name in Brazil. So it's a huge YouTube channel. It has almost 2 million followers, and it became a benchmark for ABI and beer overall, because we have in this channel 3 times per week we launch new content, videos around 7-8 minutes each. We have creators that makes the channel live in the end. And it become a huge, it's in Brazil, it's the number 1 channel in engagement in Brazil, so it's huge in Brazil.
Really?
And it became a benchmark for the beer side too. So and then this brand also last year developed the TikTok channel. It's also huge in Brazil. It's the second biggest TikTok channel. They also have a different group of creators working for TikTok. They launch new videos, new content every day. So they are now working on how TikTok is launching new formats on the lower funnel. So working with live commerce, social commerce, and etc. So how can our creators help us sell also our beverage? So now they are in this path. And also they have a huge Twitter channel. So they become number 1 in ABI, in YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. And then what we did, we created a whole presentation telling a little bit about the learning from the brands and all the path to help other brands on how to do it. And also one thing that we like to share is what worked and what did not work, because with our errors we can help people getting better in their role. So what we do like a huge, we roll out the deck with other markets and with the beer sides, and also with the global teams too. So we have on ABI, we have some areas on vertical areas, for example, data, and then we have media. So we talk to these people also on the global level to share with the right brands.
Really good stuff. So the TikTok, effort sounds like you're not only creating great content, but really great advocates for your brands as well, through the creators who are using their own social platforms to be advocates, which is very, very powerful. Give us a little sense of the other emerging, you can't say TikTok's emerging, but the other newer channels like a Twitch, you mentioned YouTube a little bit, where you're doing these kind of creative programs that are showcases, not only for the consumers, but obviously getting a lot of attention internally too.
Yes, I think Twitch is another good example. We did already some live streamings with some brands that connect with the gaming industry. What we did, we had some streamers connecting and also some gamers drinking the beverage during the match and etc. And the streamer also drinking the beverage and talking about the beverage. So, and now we are in a path of creating our channels also inside Twitch. Because until now, we always use the streamer's channel or the gamer's channel. We are now in a path of non-alc brands to create our own channels. And one thing that I forgot to mention that I think it's also nice to mention on TikTok, when TikTok was entering Brazil, TikTok did a partnership with Guaraná, that is the CSD brand, and we added in the can of the brand, the can of the beverage, a QR code for people to connect to TikTok in the end. They are just arriving in Brazil. There's no users yet at the time. So we added a QR code in the can. And then for exchange, TikTok help us with creators. So they offer us 50 creators to create for the brands during the one entire year and help the brands to really understand how the channel works and really understand how in the end the social this social channel works in the end, because it's very different. There's a very different ways of thinking in the end versus Instagram or versus other social channels. So for us was a very good learning path.
Really very creative stuff, without a doubt. Let's talk about how you pull it all together. You have so many tools available to you, correct? From digital to data to creative, voice of the consumer as well. And within that, it seems that data is probably the underlying thread to make it work. Tell us about how you're applying that data, both internally in the product development process, and how that's increased over time.
So the data for us is the heart then for every process, and we are in the path. It's not like we're in the path of making every time more and more as the heart of everything we do, from product innovation to communication overall. So one example is the project I mentioned on the insights that we in the end, for the last 3-4 years, we are in a path to acquiring data, understanding our first-party audiences. Now we are in a path of using this data towards an insight and interesting information from consumers to help us better communicate with them, to help us better create better products for them. So with this tool that I mentioned, the Owner the Insights tool, we are now able, and we're now able to test. And we did this for also in Brazil. For example, we launched a new CSD in a partnership with a candy. So we're in adult, what type of packaging matches the consumer connects better. So we had different types of packagings and we tested them using this tool. And then we also launched for Guaraná, this huge CSD in Brazil, 6 new flavors, one of each region of Brazil. And you use this tool to ask consumers which flavor of each type of region they prefer combined with Guaraná, that is the fruit of the CSD. We are also using this tool, of course, for beer. So when Michelob Ultra just entering Brazil, we understand what type of occasion matches better with the brand and what type of occasion the consumers understood better Michelob Ultra. Also, when we launched the Stella non-gluten in Brazil, what type of consumer understand better this innovation? So for us, like we're using more and more, and not just in marketing, but we are trying to expand this platform to other areas, to pricing, occasions, trade marketing. So that's we are in this path of really making data as the heart of the ABI strategy.
Well, it certainly seems like it's touching a lot of aspects of the consumer journey and your own internal stakeholders, which is great. And you probably don't think of a company like AB and InBev as having a robust first-party data approach, but it seems like in your company over the last 2 or 3 years, it's been a real priority. Has it been hard to acquire that first-party data and really make it a priority for your organization?
It was in the beginning, it was not hard, but you have to shift the way the marketeer's mind in a way. So instead of just doing offline communications, we have to switch a lot to digital, and also to make initiatives that in a way really connect to the consumer, and the consumer wants to connect with the brand and to keep in a way to be connected. So for example, promotions or content or just like loyalty programs. So the brands, they have to shift their mind and the way they think about the year, and how to better make connections with consumers. So it was in the beginning, it was not hard, but it was like a mind changing. And it was not, of course, it's not easy, because the consumer wants to be connected with our brands, and for us was something new, because we're never in contact with the final consumer. We're always in contact with a partner that distributes the beverage. So we had to learn what to do with the information in the end, and how to use it. And we realized that we would just survive in a way, really understanding consumer needs and really anticipating their needs, and then anticipating their desires. So we have to do a really huge shift internally. But everyone understands the importance of it, and how it's better for people in the end, for consumers and overall in the end, because we create things that they wanted. So it was not hard in this way.
Excellent. And I'm just going to make a call out. If anybody has any questions from the audience, we're happy to take them. We'll do about 2 or 3 more minutes, Vitória, on wrapping up our Q&A and then wrapping up our talk, and then we can move to some questions if the audience has them. So in one other area that was, I thought, very interesting when we spoke, is this notion or this concept that you have this creativity lab. And I'd love to learn more about what that creativity lab means to the organization and how it was developed.
Perfect. So we are also in a path of leveraging creativity internally with our brands, and all because we want to create better connections with consumers and etc. So we want to create culture and create things that campaigns that really connects with consumers. So we develop a board internally that we call Creativity Lab, that we ask people from the external creative industry. So I have 5 members now joining this board. That is Paola Bieri, she's CCO from DDB Colombia. Jenna Young, that is creative director from Weber Shandwick in New York. We have Shantika Sagers, that leads the content in Facebook, also in the US. Marcos Medeiros, that also creative director on Crispin Porter & Boguski, that is a global agency, and also Cristina Namovs, that is a creative consultant. She works for Havaianas and other huge brands in Brazil. So we have this board. We meet them once per month, and we invite the brands to join the board and share ideas from scratch, or ideas that they have. It's still not live, for us to brainstorm together and try to think in a way that we can create better ideas for consumers, or I don't know, stronger ideas. Also, we use this board to help us creating then better cases from our ideas. So also to subscribe in creative festivals and etc. So we had a very good year for creativity in non-alc brands. In Brazil, we were the most awarded brand in Cannes that last year. Also, we won some Effies and some other very strong creative brands, awards, sorry. So we think when we have good creativity in the end, we create, we can connect better with our consumers. People will talk about our brands, we can engage more. So that's why the creativity area, it's so huge, and it's also it's in the heart of our strategy.
Great stuff when you think of combining the data with the creativity, which is a little bit like the art and science, and when magic can happen. Before we go to any questions, I want to ask, there's some up and coming and on the rise marketers who are with us in the audience, and I think they would love some perspective on how you got started and some advice you could give them as to how to advance their careers.
So I'm from a family that works in advertising. My father is a creative director. My mom, she's a creative director, now a painter. My brothers also work in advertising. One of them is creative director. The other one was a planner. And now he's working in a different industry. My husband is also a creative director. So I come from a family that breeds advertising. So because of that, I studied to be a dentist. I really tried to do something different, but I couldn't. So I come back to the advertising area. And when I started as an art director also. I started in the creative area. And then I realized that I have also different characteristics. And I also like organization. I like a little bit of numbers, not a lot of numbers, but a little bit of numbers compared to my family. So I started my career in agencies. I started already in digital. For me, it was very mind-blowing. I started my career on digital in Portugal. I used to live there. I did my master there. And when I joined, I joined Ogilvy, that is a global agency in Lisbon. And then when I joined Ogilvy, they just won Mars, that is Pedigree and Whiskas account, because they created search platform that was called PetNet. In the end, was kind of the Orkut for dogs and cats. So every Portuguese that has dogs and cats join the PetNet and talk about their pets. And I have a pet too. My pet just gave 6 dogs. So anyone wants a dog, or I want to find someone to take care of my dog. And in the end, I used to manage this platform. For me, I realized it was 2007. I realized that in the end, for Mars was a huge CRM tool, because they knew exactly who are they talking with, and they could create a very segmented communication. So, for example, they could talk to owners of cats with more than 7 kilos. Mm-hmm. It was very specific, and for me, it was like, there is no way back. So it's no way back. We know we can understand consumers so much now, and we can create things so personalized for them. That I totally need to focus like on the end data, consumer understanding, etc. So all my career was based on this. I work also in Unilever and Microsoft, building their in-house agency. So as I had this experience with agency, my role was to manage the operation. So hiring people, understanding the role of the agency, and also delivering. And of course, trying to create a structure very connected, from media to creative to data science, and how can we generate insights to create better communication in the end. And then I joined NABev in Brazil, and two weeks before I left to maternity leave, I was called to join this position on the JHQ.
Well, it sounds like you were fully prepared for this role, and a really interesting background, not only because you come from the first family of advertising, I think, in Brazil, which is what I just learned also,
yes.
With a big history and heritage. We do have one question, and then we can wrap it up. We have one of our viewers has asked, can you tell us a little bit about which are some of the brands that really are doing good work in the purpose-driven arena?
Yes, we have Pony Malta in Colombia. That is a malt beverage. They create a non-bullying platform that is very interesting. Brazilian brand, also Guaraná, that is a huge CSD. They are really helping the women in sports, and they help the women soccer team in Brazil. So they are helping them to make their work in the end better known and better and people to get to watch it in the end, because we had a huge lack on the women in sports and overall. There is lack of brands helping on advertising and overall, and so that's their role. So I would say these 2 brands.
Great stuff. So I think this has been a thorough pleasure for me. I'm sure our audience has enjoyed it as well. You've really taught us about the creativity, the data, the innovation that's going on in the non-alcoholic world of AB and InBev. I would urge you to please send me that product that's going to take care of my insomnia,
yes,
my anxiety, and help me relax a little bit more. But
For
it's been a
sure.
pleasure talking to you and getting to know you a little bit over the last 2 weeks or so. And thank you so much for your time. It's been very insightful.